Hello and welcome to the very first edition of the Sarlacc Pit here on the Imperial Podcast feed. I'm your host, Patrick Barmann, and welcome to the show. Today we're going to be talking about Star Wars, The Force Awakens, theories, and maybe some speculation on Episode 8. So here on the Sarlacc Pit, we're going to be talking about Star Wars, and it's just going to be a running monologue of me talking to you guys. Feel free to join the conversation at the Imperial Pod on Twitter. So our first topic of the day is The Force Awakens. I saw it Thursday, the day before opening. I waited in line for 5.5 hours in the cold. It was freezing. But I met a nice family. They got me some Starbucks. It was fun. I saw it with my dad because my very first movie ever in the movie theaters was The Phantom Menace. And he took me when I was just about to turn 4 years old. And you know what? I had a blast. It was a lot of fun to go see a movie that I have been waiting for almost 3 years now. And, you know, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. I had some mixed feelings during the movie, especially with certain scenes. But overall, I loved it. And it was a lot of fun. And it was very much a love letter to the original movie. You know, it's almost the exact same plot. A droid on a desert planet has some planes that the bad guys want. And some, person who doesn't know who their true family is has to get that droid back to the rebellion, or in this case, the resistance. So, a lot of similarities there. But there's also a lot of differences, All of our heroes are now old, and some of them even die. Spoiler alert, but it's been a month now. And the death of Han Solo really, really affected me the second time I saw the movie because I was prepared for it. And I wasn't just in such awe I was seeing a Star Wars movie that I could actually take it in and realize that Han Solo, was stabbed through the heart by his son. And, it's not like he cried when he was stabbed. What was his last act? He reached up and just grasped the face of his son out of love. Because he knew that he loved his son. And what really got to me was when Chewie cried out. And personally, I think if there was ever a time for a Wookiee to get pissed off and rip someone's arm out of their sockets, that would have been the exact moment at which to do it. Could you imagine? Han gets stabbed, he shoots Kylo Ren, and then a stormtrooper walks by and he just rips his arm off. I mean, how freaking awesome would that have been? And, I feel so bad for Chewie. His buddy's dead, and it's just him now, and the Falcon and Rey, and R2. And, I really, really hope that they keep Kylo Ren on the bad side, on the dark side, and that they don't do a reverse Anakin, where he starts off on the dark side and goes to the bad. I would love to see him get even eviler and eviler. Is that even a word? I don't know. But just keep going down on the dark side, and then in the final movie, just have Rey or Luke. Actually, no, I would prefer Luke, just to come and decapitate his ass, because he killed Han Solo. And on to our next segment. I wanted to get into some theories about the movie, about who Rey is, where did Kylo come from. We know that he's Ben Solo, but what's his story? Why did he turn to the dark side? And I read a theory earlier today that was actually really funny of when Kylo finds Darth Vader's burnt up mask, he had to find it somewhere, and probably on the Forest Moon of Endor. And guess who also is on the Forest Moon of Endor? That's right, the Ewoks. How funny would it have been if when Kylo went down to go get Darth Vader's mask, that he just murdered a bunch of Ewoks and just completely eradicated them? I mean, I don't hate the Ewoks, but that would have been kind of funny to see. And I forget who said that. I saw that in a chat there earlier this day. But it was hilarious. And it made me laugh out loud, so I thought I would share that with you guys. But on to Rey. Rey is by far the biggest theory generator out there right now. A lot of people trying to figure out who is she, who's her parents. A lot of people thinking she's Luke's kid, and I see it a little bit, but other people thinking she's Han and Leia's second kid, who's they put into hiding after Ben turned to the dark side and became Kylo Ren. Which would make sense because, when the Skywalker family wants to go into hiding, they send their kid to a desert planet to fend for themselves, like you do when you're a good parent. But my theory is that she is a Kenobi. Why? Because she and Obi-Wan Kenobi are the only two people on the light side that keep their British accent. And it's not just because she's a British actor. I mean, John Boyega, who played Finn, is a British actor, and he didn't keep his accent at all. And the only people who do keep their accents are on the dark side. We have Governor Tarkin. We also have in the new movie we have why am I blanking on his name now? Donald Gleason played him. General Hux. He also kept his British accent. And when he was cast, someone asked him, well, who are you going to play? And he said, well, I'm British, so I'm bad, obviously. So that's why I'm thinking she's a Kenobi. Also, it makes sense. Kenobi's been, he was stranded on the desert planet for, 19 years, was it? And in that time, I'm sure he probably met someone, and Rey could have been his grandson, or granddaughter, I mean. So that's an interesting theory. Another theory I've heard is that Finn is the son of Lando. And I really don't like that, just because that means that the only minority character in the new movie and the original movie are related. And that just kind of, I think, I don't like that. I rather than be more expanded. But it also would make sense, because Lando does seem the kind of person who, he's a smuggler. He's not that much of a stand-up guy. He probably would give up a baby to the New Order if they ordered him to. And I doubt he would feel bad about that. He's not the greatest guy. So what are your theories? Let me know. You can tweet me at ImperialPod on Twitter. So any other theories that you have, just send them on my way. And coming off of theories, we also have theories about Episode 8. What it's going to be, who's going to be in it, and what not. We know that, our gang of Rey, Finn, and Poe are coming back along with Kylo Ren. Probably Captain Phasma. The last time we saw her, she was going to be chucked into a trash compactor. I really hope that she comes back because she looked awesome. Also, I'm pretty sure Episode 8 is going to be a parallel between Kylo Ren being trained by Supreme Leader Snoke and Rey being trained by Luke. Also, there could be a third parallel in there with Finn being trained by Poe in fighting, fighter pilots or flying an X-Wing, which would be awesome. I mean, how awesome was Poe in that movie? He was the breakout star of that movie, along with Daisy Ridley. Finn, I wasn't a huge fan of, but he was still pretty cool. And BB-8's just awesome. And so I'm pretty sure it's going to be Kylo Ren being trained by Supreme Leader Snoke, along with Rey being trained by Luke. And I'm pretty sure that Supreme Leader Snoke is Darth Plagueis, as talked about in Episode 3, The Revenge of the Sith, when Palpatine was talking about Darth Plagueis the Wise. And if you just look at what concept arts of Darth Plagueis looks like, and what Supreme Leader Snoke looks like, it's very, very similar. Also, Daisy Ridley's character, Rey, her staff that she carries around looks almost identical to that of Darth Plagueis. That could just be a coincidence. Maybe J.J. Abrams saw the design and said, hey, I like that. Let's incorporate that somewhere. But it looks too close to Darth Plagueis' staff. Anyway, Finn got sliced up the back, almost cut in two, so he's going to have some nice prosthetics, something going on. And also, if you remember, physical damage in Star Wars relates to mental or emotional damage of your soul. When Luke's hand was cut off, it was because he was, being tempted. Or when Darth Vader or Anakin was tempted by the dark side, he got 4 of his limbs chopped off at various points. So Finn's going to have some damage. Kylo Ren has some damage too. He was stabbed in the leg, stabbed in the shoulder and has a nice slash up his face. So now he actually needs a mask. So I'm wondering if he's going to keep his crossguard lightsaber design, because his lightsaber from episode 7 was completely destroyed by Rey, if you watch closely. When I watched the movie for the third time, I was paying more attention to details of what's going to be coming up in the next movie, who was injured and how. And I'm sorry to say it, Han Solo is not coming back. He was stabbed through the heart, fell down a chasm to the bottom you couldn't even see, and then the planet was blown up and turned into a star. So there's no way he is coming back. And it's not like he can come back as a Force ghost, which is unfortunate because Han Solo is awesome, Harrison Ford was awesome, and he gave it his all for this last movie. I mean, that was the best Han since we've seen. And since episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. I mean, yeah, he was okay in Jedi, but he was phoning it in. He wanted to be done with the character. So I knew going into this movie he was just coming back to give Han Solo his final farewell, which he deserved. I mean, Han Solo is a legendary character in his own right, and I think Harrison Ford should have been nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Role, because he was phenomenal in that movie. Anyway, back on to episode 8. How cool would it be to see Poe and Finn training in a fighter jet, or not a fighter, X-Wing? And, you know, because we never see that. We've never seen training other than Jedi training. And we've never seen Darkseid training, for that matter. You know, we see it in the comic books or in the expanded universe that's no longer canon anymore. In a Darth Maul book that I read, it talks about his training, which was brutal. But we never seen it in the movies. We never see how the Sith, or in this case, the Knights of Ren, we never see how they're trained. So I'm really eager to see how that's going to pan out. And then we're going to see Luke training a Jedi for the first time. I mean, it was talked about in the opening crawl and talked about throughout the movie that he trained Jedi, but we never see it. And he hasn't said a word. Luke has not spoken since 1983. So I'm interested to see what kind of teacher he is going to be. Is he going to be more like Qui-Gon, who doesn't really follow the rules of the Jedi Code, or is he going to be more like Obi-Wan, who follows them to the letter? Because, you know, come to think about it, Luke doesn't know really the Jedi Code. He had 2 days with Obi-Wan and 2 weeks with Yoda. So that's all the Jedi training he ever had. So he has his own set of rules, if he has any. So I'm really fascinated to see where they're going to go with Luke, how he's going to train it, and see how he responds to seeing his original lightsaber, who belonged to his father. So that brings us to our final topic for today, which is Rogue One, which comes out this December. We are only 11 months away from the next Star Wars movie, and I have no idea what's going to be in it. We have some of the cast, but I don't know who any of them are. And all we know is that it's a bunch of X-Wing pilots stealing the plans of the Death Star from the Empire. That's all I know. That's all I care to know going into it. And so I'm really interested to see what's going on. I know that they have the people who did Black Hawk Down and Zero Dark 30 working on it, so it's going to be more of a gritty war movie, which is nice because it's going to be, you know, they're putting the wars in Star Wars. You know, all the battles we see in Star Wars so far have been kind of cartoonish and fun, or, you know, they didn't have any real grit to them. They're more of, you know, it was either stormtroopers, which we didn't care about because there was 50 bajillion of them, or clone troopers who they're all the same person, so it's not like, you know, you have any real connection to them. And it's all, you know, or droids. And who cares about droids? They're pieces of metal that you can melt down and re-put back together. It's like, you know, so I'm really hoping to get connected to these characters, to really care about them. And also I've heard rumors that James Earl Jones, the Dark Lord himself, is coming back to voice Darth Vader. And I cannot wait for that because I miss his voice. I don't watch Rebels. I missed the first season. And I know he's in that, but I have not seen it. So I'm really looking forward to Rogue One, and I'm really looking forward to Episode 8. I'll be standing in line for probably another 5 hours again, for both of them. I have no idea what the fan reaction to Rogue One's going to be. Who knows? Is it going to be really popular? Or is it just going to be popular amongst, super fans who are willing to stand in line for 5.5 hours to go see a movie and then go see it 2 more times, and I'll probably go see it a 4th time this week. So yeah, that's the show for this week. You can check us out on Twitter at Imperial Pod. This is the Sarlacc Pit, where we're just going to talk about Star Wars and have some fun. So thank you for coming along, and I'll see you next time.